Hey guys, Yang here at Locals, recording my friend's Dominic deck profile. He managed to gather everything in the sneak peek weekend. That's very, very impressive. So, Dominic, go ahead and introduce us your deck.
All right, so this is my first rendition of Pure Kashtira. It's one of the new meta competitors in Photon Hypernova. It's really insane, the stuff that you can do with this deck, and locking out your opponent's zones and banishing all their resources is very impressive. This is not my actual list I'm going to play. I just threw it together because I was able to get all the rest of the cards today. So we'll get into it. So Unicorn is now the new best one because he searches for any Kashtira spell card. So we now have Theosis, which is the E-Telly, and the planet, which searches for anything, but you can't search the planet off of this. You're most likely searching the Theosis most of the time. Or you can come up with a cool play where you can, you're able to get Birth and Theosis by means of Triple Tactics Thrust, but we'll get into that when we get closer to that. And obviously you're still playing 3 Fenrir. He searches literally everything in the deck now. You have so many new targets that you can search with him, including the new Kashtira Rise Heart. Just for people that may not remember too, Unicorn, if he attacks or if your opponent activates a monster effect, he looks at your opponent's extra deck and you banish something face down.
Get that info immediately.
Right. And then Fenrir, he targets a face-up card and banishes it face down. Everybody knows that. Rise Heart is one of the new additions. He's the new Visa Starfrost duplicate. So
this card replaces Side Beast, I'm assuming.
Yes, Side Beast is no longer needed because you're playing multiple Kashtira cards that are infinitely better. So Rise Heart, if you control a Kashtira, you can special summon him from your hand, but it locks you into Exceed summoning, but that doesn't matter because we're literally only doing that. And then during the main phase, when it was normal or specialed, you banish a Kashtira card from your deck and banish the top 3 of your opponent's deck face down, and he becomes level 7. Nice. And then most of the time you're banishing Big Bang because you can get Big Bang back in the combo, which we'll get to towards the end. Okay. So really nice extender for the deck, and really what they needed to get their engine going.
And it becomes a level 7, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Nice.
Being able to turn himself into an extra level 7 is vital. I'm playing 2 of the Scareclaw just because there's still tier elements running around, and this outs Baguska. So this guy and the new tier elements Kashtira, they both have effects where they're a quick effect summon, but you have to banish a Kashtira from hand or grave, or in this case, for Scareclaw, you can banish a Scareclaw from hand or grave, or a tier element from hand or grave. And then the tier elements, when it's summoned, you can mill the top 2 of your deck, and then if it's sent to grave by a card effect, you can mill 3. Okay. But we're usually not using those effects because he's another big body, 2300.
And level 7 most
and another level 7 extender.
Yeah.
And then, as I mentioned, Scareclaw, he can attack while in defense mode and apply his defense as the attack for going into something. Okay. And I don't remember the last one.
Attacking defense,
it negates the effects of anything that your Kashtira monsters or Scareclaw monsters attack into as well.
Oh, okay.
So that instantly shuts off Baguska.
Yep.
Or anything that it attacks into.
Okay.
So nice extenders for the deck. And then, of course, we're still playing D-Shifter because
you can give a fuck about this card.
This is combo birds, as people like to call it. Because literally you do not care about your graveyard. You can... This deck has a pretty decent tier limit matchup if you can either go first or open this card. I mean, that's basically for any deck, but...
Basically, that's the same thing with birds. You gotta see this card going second.
The reason this deck has a better tier matchup than most decks is because the monsters, Unicorn and Fenrir, can respond to activated monster effects. For the last of the monsters, we're just playing 3 Ash for general hand traps, because we can actually play hand traps now. The spells, the new pressured planet Wraith Sauce. Yeah, the sauce. So this is the new planet. It searches for a Kashtira, and then all monsters you control gain 100 attack and defense for every different attributes that's on the field. And then every time that this guy, well, not every time, but when this guy activates his effect, either the zone locking or the summon, you can target a card on the field and destroy it. Nice. So it's the Parallel Rhino in that sense.
Yep.
So it's still very good. And then the other new spell, we got Kashtira Theosis, or this is Papyrus as people once knew it of. You target a Kashtira, summon one from the deck with a different attribute, and then if this is banished, you could target another banished Kashtira card and add it to your hand. So that's how you get the Big Bang back.
Okay.
And then
this locks you into XC. That doesn't hurt at all?
No.
Okay.
It doesn't hurt because, I mean, it could hurt if you're going second and you need to out stuff, but most of the time it's not necessary. Right now I'm on 3 birth still because birth, it just still gives you a normal summon with the level 7s.
It's a will too,
Yeah, it's a will of Salamangreat by special summoning from grave or banish, non-targeting. And if your opponent activates a spell while you have a Kashtira, you can target 3 cards in your opponent's graveyard, and then they are banished. But if one of those cards is moved from the grave by like a shuffler or something, then it fizzles. But and at least like it helps draw them out, or it draws out Bestials too. Then we're playing 3 Prosperity. This card is scary in the mirror because like the mirror is almost like who can get the Diablosis first and just deck you out.
Yeah.
Because Diablosis banishes cards face down from the deck when cards are already banished face down. But good consistency card. And plus, we're playing a lot of multiples in our extra deck, so we can afford to banish a bunch of stuff.
Yep.
And then I'm still playing 3 Talents for now because, again, I just threw this together. And mainly because I can search it off of the new Triple Tactics Thrust, which I only have 1 of at the moment. But this card is so insane.
If you have 3 of this, would you cut this down?
I'd probably cut this down to 2.
Cut this down to 2? Okay.
Because this card is so nuts. Like, we're actually in the middle of our local tournament as of recording this. In our game 1, I used Unicorn to search Birth, and then I baited out a monster effect while I had this in hand. I activated this, got the Theosis, and I was just able to OTK from there.
Theosis is just a normal spell, which is very searchable with that.
And this can also grab you Dark Ruler, which I'm main decking 1 of for now.
Okay.
But it's probably not going to be in the main deck for too long. You can also search Terraforming off of Tactics Thrust because it's a normal spell.
Yes.
Or you can search Imperm.
Normal trap.
We're playing a lot of normal spells and traps because Thrust is that good. Like, a lot of people are underestimating Thrust, and I think it's going to be an insane card this format. And then, of course, we already looked at it before, but Big Bang.
Big Bang.
So, this, while you control a Kashtira Xyz monster, and if your opponent has 2 or more monsters on the field, it forces your opponent to banish monsters on the field until they control the same number of monsters as you.
Okay.
So, if you're just left with just like the ship or a Rise Heart, then you can just clear their whole board that they're building up and just leave them with 1 monster. And then, it has another effect. I don't remember. Oh, if it's banished, you target a Kashtira Xyz monster, and then you add a monster that is attached to it, and then you special summon that monster.
Oh, okay.
So if this has like a monster attached to it, because like in the combo, you'll have this in Rise Heart. When Rise Heart activates its effect, you banish this while this has materials, and then it locks a zone, and then you can summon one of the dudes back, and then summon Diablosis. And then, like
nice.
The combos with this deck are insane. So that's the main deck, 40 cards.
Nice.
We'll go into the extra deck.
Yep.
Still playing 2 Shangri-Era. Everybody knows what this does. This locks the zones. It summons a Kashtira from deck every standby phase, and it can protect itself from being destroyed if by detaching material, rather. Sorry. And so the one thing to note about this card is if it already established zones locked, then if you go to try to Imperm or Dark Ruler it, those zones will still be locked until either it leaves the field or it's flipped face down. That's why people are playing Eclipse and stuff like that, and Board Breakers, which I'm playing a couple myself. Then we have the new Kashtira Rise Heart. This card is a walking macrocosmos. So
it's a Thought Claw.
Yeah, well, for both players.
Yeah.
It makes any card that goes to grave banish instead. And once per chain, you add a banished card, whether it's face up or face down, to it as material. And then I'm still figuring out these cards for myself. And then its actual effect, which is once per turn, it's a quick effect, detach 3, and you flip a card, you flip a monster your opponent has face down.
Yeah, it's easy to have a lot of materials on this card.
Yes, because being once per chain, like once stuff gets gradually banished, you just keep attaching it all back to himself, and then generate more advantage down the line for grind games. Then we're still playing 2 Diablosis. You can cut down to 1, but for right now I'm playing 2 because of Prosperity. And plus, if you're playing the mirror, you don't want your only one of this to get banished face down. But people know what this guy does too. He snipes a card out of your opponent's extra deck, and then once per turn, when a card is banished face down that your opponent owns, then he banishes the top cards of your opponent's deck face down.
I learned it the hard way on Master Duel. I activated Desires when they have this. I was like, where did all my cards go?
Yeah, instant banish 20.
Yep.
And also the card that is like the effect to banish one from the extra deck's not once per turn either. So if you're able to loop 2 of these, then that's even better. And you can save the 1. And because we're in a Kashtira format, I'm now playing 2 Zeus because I don't want the first one to get sniped and then not be left with a Zeus.
Yep.
And then for now, I'm playing 2 Big Eye. You can cut this down to 1 as well. It's just a utility card. But he takes an opponent's monster. Like, if you get this off in the mirror and take one of their level 7s or even like their Arise Heart, that could be detrimental as well. But I'm probably going to cut it down to 1 to play some other stuff in the extra deck.
Yep.
And then Flare Metal, it's time card because you got to play time cards.
Yep.
Burns for 500 for every effect. It's the OG Masquerade. And then I'm also playing Dark Arm, the Dragon of Annihilation. So this guy has a niche effect where I actually don't remember it, but I know it's
banish one engrave to pop a card. I'm assuming. Yeah.
It's. I believe it's not a once per turn. No, it's not.
Yeah, it's Dark Arm. So
yeah, it's literally Dark Arm. Yeah. So you detach a material, then target a card, you destroy it and banish, destroy it, then banish 1 card from your graveyard. Yep. So that can trigger off some of your Kashtira cards.
Yep.
And
so spot removal, basically.
Yep, but the only downside is this can't attack, but it doesn't matter because we'll probably be killing them anyway.
Yep.
And then the last cards are Link monsters. Goliath is going to be important to be played because this is one of your prosperity targets. And when you go to Arise Heart stuff back, this is going to be one of the first things you do to attach because Arise Heart is a machine. And this gives machines that it's equipped to, that it's attached to as Xyz material, to they cannot be destroyed by card effects. So that's why Dark Roll and Raigeki are a little bit less superior to Book of Eclipse because your end board usually is, just real quick, your end board is this up here, Arise Heart, and Diablosa somewhere. So if they Dark Hole you, you just chain Arise Heart, attach this. These 2 can't be destroyed, so you're just destroying this. And you still have to deal with these guys. So that's why Book of Eclipse is going to be the better card moving forward, in my opinion.
Wonderful.
I mean, look at Lunar Eclipse can do the same thing, but Book of Eclipse just gets the whole field down.
Yeah, but then you have to clear the board.
Exactly. And then Donner is a nice spot removal. It's just a 1-for-1 Scrap Dragon, but it's on. I believe it's on summon, and that's really the only effect that we are worrying about. It needs 2 different names to summon. And the last card is Lingaribo. I don't have my Nightmare Corruptor Iblis on me, but you side it because games 2 and 3, if you're going first, you want to see the Iblis so you don't get nibbed. And so you just link into this and then put the Iblis on your opponent's side and then combo off. So I just threw it in for now, but so as of right now, it's just a prosperity target. But once I do get Iblis, then I will be making it more often. And also in the mirror match, you can out the Iblis that they give you as well, which is nice. And side deck, this is just thrown together, but it also accommodates our locals for now. 3 Lava Golem, it's board breaking. Smear mode is probably going to be better, but it's either going to be Lava Golem, Sphere mode, or Nib. Yep. I haven't decided yet, but as of right now, I just put Lava Golem just based on our locals. 3 Cosmic to out any kind of random sets or floodgates. 2 more Dark Rulers because we have an absurd amount of bird players and just heavy combo deck players here. And then same thing with Duster because we have random back row players here. And then 3 Judgment for going first. Yep. This is really nice. And then the last card, which also is basically a pseudo Kashtira, is 3 Evenly Match. Because, I mean, in that our first round again against the same guy that I OTK'd, I activated this. He had 9 banished set, and then I eventually got to where he had 13 banished face down on Diablosis resolution, and he had 26 banished face down after that.
Nice.
So yep. that is it for the deck profile.
Very, very beautiful deck. Well, thank you, Dominic, for showing us an awesome deck in such speed, as these cards are not even out yet. So,
Not officially.
Please like and subscribe, and we'll try to get Dominic to do an updated deck profile next week. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.